Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of December 6, 2025. I'm your host, Sharifa Mohammed MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. The day's operations reflect a synchronized campaign blending deep strike interdiction with gradual ground advances along all sectors. The cumulative attrition of Ukrainian brigades, destruction of logistical nodes, and increasing pressure in encircled areas, notably Dimitrov, point to an effort to erode Ukrainian operational reserves before winter consolidation. The scale of long-range strikes on industrial energy infrastructure indicates a strategic orientation toward degrading Ukraine's sustainment capacity rather than seeking rapid territorial gains. If Russian forces maintain momentum, especially in the central and eastern axes, Ukrainian command may be forced to reallocate depleted reserves, potentially weakening secondary fronts. The destruction of EW systems and UAV intercepts also highlights a continuing contest for information domain superiority.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Oguntoye, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Colonel Oguntoye, let's begin with the major development overnight, Russia's large-scale precision strike campaign. What can you tell us about the intent and outcomes of this strike?
These strikes represent a highly coordinated effort aimed at degrading Ukraine's military-industrial base, particularly the enterprises linked to defense production and the energy systems that sustain them. Russia employed a mixed package of long-range precision weapons, Kinzhal aeroballistic hypersonic missiles, long-range air and land-based missiles, and UAVs. The pairing of hypersonic missiles with UAVs is doctrinally significant. It creates a multi-layered timing problem for the defender, overwhelming air defense tracking solutions and creating seams in early warning. The stated objective was to eliminate production capacity, logistical nodes, and port infrastructure supporting military operations. Russian sources claim all targets were hit, which, if accurate, signals that Ukraine's defense industrial sustainment capacity may face increasing strain over the winter. These kinds of deep strikes are not about frontline gains, they are about shaping the operational environment.
Let's shift to the northern sector. What occurred around Sumy Oblast and Kharkiv's northern approaches?
In the north, Russian forces engaged multiple Ukrainian infantry, assault, and territorial brigades across settlements such as Oleksivka, Andriivka, Rizevka, and Khotin, extending into areas like Bayrak and Vovchinsky Khutor near Kharkiv. The reported Ukrainian losses, over 285 personnel, vehicles, artillery, and depot sites, suggest sustained Russian efforts to collapse Ukraine's border defenses. These are classic shaping operations. Russia is not pushing for deep penetration here. Rather, it seeks to stretch Ukrainian defensive coverage, force rotation of reserves, and create opportunities for operational deception. Sumy and northern Kharkiv remain vulnerable because they require Ukraine to defend broad terrain with limited mechanized depth.
Is this movement a precursor to a wider northern offensive?
It's possible, but not guaranteed. What we're seeing is more about cumulative attrition and positional advantage. Russia may be preparing the ground for maneuver operations later, but for now, the emphasis remains on exhausting Ukrainian brigades and eroding their lateral mobility. Again, these are about shaping the operational environment months in advance.
Moving westward, the Russian West Group reports new advantageous positions. What does that mean in practical terms?
Securing better positions often indicates consolidation along tactically advantageous terrain, ridgelines, road junctions, and defensible urban edges. Near Kupiansk-Uzlovaya, Shikhavka, Novosinovo, and other villages, Russian forces report defeating elements of Ukrainian mechanized and National Guard brigades, inflicting around 235 casualties and eliminating EW stations and multiple depots. The destruction of EW systems is noteworthy. EW represents battlefield sensing, drone integration, and counter-artillery functionality. Eliminating these assets reduces Ukraine's real-time understanding of Russian maneuver, which in turn limits its ability to respond to probing attacks or preserve ammunition stocks.
So are these advances tactical or operational?
They sit at the boundary. On their own, these gains are tactical, but because they align with broader pressure along the Luhansk to Donetsk arc, they contribute to operational momentum. Russia is tightening control over a corridor essential for logistics and troop cycling.
Let's talk about the south, where Russian forces reportedly improved their tactical position. What stands out here?
The fighting around Stepanivka, Seversk, Slavyansk, and Kostiantynivka remains intense. Russia engaged units from mechanized, airborne assault, Marine, and National Guard brigades. The losses, over 175 Ukrainian personnel and multiple EW systems, suggest sustained pressure across a heavily defended zone. What stands out is the targeting of Marine and airborne brigades. These units usually serve as rapid reaction forces. Damaging them reduces Ukrainian flexibility. Russia's incremental gains indicate a desire to secure the approaches towards Slavyansk and the northern Donetsk river line.
The center group seems to be the most active, especially around Dimitrov. Can you explain what's unfolding there?
The encirclement at Dimitrov continues to be one of the most consequential developments. Russian forces are applying multi-directional pressure against Ukrainian mechanized, airborne assault, Marine, and territorial units near Rodinsk, Toretsk, Krashino, Artemivka, and Belitsk. Reported losses, up to 465 personnel, a tank, and several Western armored vehicles, indicate severe attrition. Encirclement operations follow a predictable doctrine: isolate, compress, degrade, then neutralize. Once the pocket collapses, Russia frees maneuver units that can be reallocated to either reinforce the east or intensify operations in Donetsk. This is why the Dimitrov fight matters far beyond its geography.
In the east, Russian forces report deeper penetration into Ukrainian defenses. What does this signify?
Near Kozovtsev, Belogorye, Huliapol, and Pryluki, Russia engaged mechanized assault and territorial defense brigades, causing around 235 casualties and destroying armor, vehicles, and a Grad MLRS. This sector has long been a battle of attrition and counter-battery duels. Penetration here suggests Ukraine's defensive cohesion is thinning. If this continues, Russia could threaten secondary lines that protect access routes into western Zaporizhzhia. The loss of MLRS platforms is significant, as artillery remains Ukraine's primary force multiplier.
And finally, the Dnipro sector. What developments are we seeing here?
Engagements occurred near Magdalenivka, Lviv, Nikolsky, Antonivka, and the city of Kherson. Russia defeated mountain assault and coastal defense brigades, reporting 55 Ukrainian casualties and the destruction of depots and EW systems. This sector is less about territorial gain and more about interdiction, targeting logistics, river crossing preparation, and rear area maneuver. Actions here force Ukraine to disperse resources across a wide riverine battle space, complicating reinforcement cycles.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. I want to emphasize that the December 6th operations reflect a synchronized Russian approach. Deep strikes degrade industrial capacity, while multi-sector ground operations slowly erode Ukrainian manpower, mobility, and electronic capabilities. The encirclement at Dimitrov represents the most strategically significant development. If Russia collapses this pocket, it may shift forces toward either the Donetsk front or the Zaporizhzhia axis, depending on Ukrainian vulnerabilities. The overarching strategy seems oriented toward cumulative attrition, weakening Ukraine's ability to sustain the fight over winter, rather than achieving rapid breakthroughs. The destruction of EW assets, depots, and artillery platforms suggests a multifaceted effort targeting both kinetic and informational dimensions of the battlefield.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive frontline updates from commanders in theater.